This meeting will now reconvene y hora pago está 18 minutos pasado las 2 después de Talwani y fecha agosto 28, 2024. Good afternoon, buenas tardes para todos amzo. Zan bienvenido para el piso ni San Hilo na gumaguni gi legislatura ni Tauta Marianas. Prior to the recess, we concluded the examination of Ms. Elizabeth Balahaja and Mr. Roy Palacios Regents nominated to serve on the Board of Professional Licensing to represent the 3rd Senatorial District. And we will now examine the credentials of Ms. Michelle Lynn Sablon, nominated to serve as a regent for the lone higher educational institution in the Sinomai, the Northern Marianas College. If there are no objections from the members, we will go back to item number 3 on the agenda and now invite Mr. Paul Regis and the nominee, Ms. Sablon, to come and join us in the chamber. This committee is in session today to fulfill our responsibility and authority pursuant to NMI Constitution and statutes, which require the advice and consent of the Senate, a procedure unique to the Senate. And this hearing is part of our democratic process, which involves the legislature exercising its authority under the Constitution and laws to examine the credentials in order to either recommend, confirming, or rejecting this nomination. We will, Mr. Regis, you may proceed when you are ready.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, for being here for the second round. Good afternoon, Hafadays and Tito Chairwoman Selena R. Babauta, and honorable members, Senate members of the Executive Appointments and Government Investigations Committee. For record purposes, my name is Jean-Paul B. Regis, Special Projects Coordinator under the Office of the Governor. I have again been tasked by the Special Assistant for the Administration, Mr. Oscar M. Babauta, to extend the administration's brief remarks. And on behalf of the Honorable Governor Arno I. Palacios and the Honorable Lieutenant Governor David M. Apateng, I thank you for the opportunity to appear before you here today again. I am pleased to introduce the renomination of Ms. Michelle Lynn Sablon, the Northern Marianas College Board of Regents nominee. By this time, you should have Ms. Sablon's resume, which outlines her professional experiences and education. Ms. Sablon had served on the NMC Board of Regents previously, this past 4 years, which had expired on May 2024. A business entrepreneur and an owner of fashion design penthouse, she holds a pre-business and liberal arts degree from Northern Marianas College and the Bachelor's of Science degree on fashion design and merchandising from University of Hawaii, Manoa, Honolulu. Governor Palacios and Lieutenant Governor Apateng have complete trust and confidence in Ms. Sablon to serve on the NMC Board of Regents. Her experiences, credentials, and commitment to serving the Commonwealth make her an outstanding candidate for this role. We are confident that she is well prepared to answer any questions you may have and present her vision for the future, and we kindly ask for your favorable, expeditious approval. Thank you, Madam Chair Jesus Mosi Zangilisto, for the opportunity to introduce her to this august body.
Jesus Masi, Senor Regis. I will now open the floor for public comments. If you wish to make public comments, I ask that you join us in the chamber. Turn on the microphone. Please state your name and the entity you represent for the record. And pursuant to Senate rules, you will have 5 minutes. The floor is now open for public comments.
Hafide, Diros, and good afternoon, Chairwoman Selena Babauta and members of the Senate Committee on Executive Appointments and Government Investigations. My name is Galvin De Leon Guerrero, and I am honored to serve our community as the president of Northern Marianas College. I thank you for this opportunity to speak before you today in support of the appointment of Michelle Lynn Sablon to serve as a member of the Northern Marianas College Board of Regents. The Board of Regents plays a vital role in setting the policies that protect the college and in leading the strategic direction of the institution. Despite typhoons, economic turbulence, and a global pandemic, the board has led the college in the past few years with construction of new facilities, the launch of a dynamic strategic master plan, and a historic accreditation term of 8 years, the longest in the college's history. Through it all, Ms. Sablon has been there helping the college's PROA continue sailing ahead. Ms. Sablon has brought to the college a wealth of experience in workforce development and private sector entrepreneurship. Hailing from a family that has helped build our island economy, Ms. Sablon has dedicated her life to expanding and diversifying that economy. In retail, marketing, or merchandising, she has cultivated the skills of countless employees and business partners, all of whom recognize her poise, professionalism, and attention to detail. She has leveraged this commitment to workforce and economic development in her role as a regent, where she has networked regional businesses with the college's various workforce training programs and entrepreneurship initiatives. Beyond workforce and economic development, Ms. Sablon has been an ardent advocate for the college, who has developed enduring relationships with local, regional, and national partners. For example, she and her entire family, I might add, are staunch supporters of the college's annual golf tournament, for which she often brings in numerous cash and in-kind donations from her vast network. More recently, when the college partnered with the Association of Community College Trustees to hold the first ever joint meeting of board members from Micronesian colleges and universities, Ms. Sablon went out of her way to interact with and connect with all of the leaders, going so far as to personally host them at her private residence. It was just one example of her authentic advocacy for the college. Above all, though, what I find most impressive about Ms. Sablon is that she is a proud PROA who shows up. A product of NMC who earned her associate's degree in business before heading to the University of Hawaii, Ms. Sablon has always showed her support for the college as a student, an alumnus, and a regent. Whether it be a graduation, a budget hearing, or just a student club activity, she makes an effort to be there. And when she's there, she's really there, deeply engaged with our students, our employees, and our supporters. As my dad used to tell me, half of life is just showing up. And that is something that Ms. Sablon does for the college time and time again. For these reasons, I ask that the members of this Senate committee support her appointment during this confirmation process. In closing, there is no doubt in anyone's mind that despite all that we've been through, we in the Northern Mariana Islands continue to endure daunting challenges: an economic downturn, geopolitical forces beyond our control, and ever worsening climate change. But amidst all this despair, the college stands as a beacon of hope for a brighter and better future for our people. Like our ancestors before us who navigated the entire Pacific because they had the vision to see what could not be seen just beyond the horizon, the college can see a future that many cannot see right now. We see it in the boundless potential of our students. We see it in the unprecedented growth of our institution. We see it in everything that we can and want to be. We see all of this in each other. This is a vision that Michelle Lynn Sablon shares with the PROA tribe. It is a vision that inspires her and the entire college community as our PROA sails ahead with a focus on learning, lifting the tide for everyone. Again, thank you very much for this opportunity to speak in support of confirming Ms. Sablon. As we often say at the college, stay safe, stay calm, and sail on. Sizus Masi.
Sizus Masi, Presidente Guerrero. The floor is still open for public comments.
Good afternoon. My name is Frankie Liptico, and while I work at Northern Marianas College, I am here in my personal capacity to support the confirmation of Michelle Sablon for a second term on the Board of Regents of Northern Marianas College. When Ms. Sablon was first appointed to the board in 2020, I had been serving at that time as the interim president of Northern Marianas College. She joined the Board of Regents during a time of significant uncertainty. We were still recovering from the aftermath of one of the most devastating typhoons in our history, which, as many of you know, nearly destroyed our entire campus. We were also grappling with the far-reaching impacts of the pandemic, and oh yes, we were undergoing a comprehensive institutional accreditation review, among other substantial challenges. Despite these daunting circumstances, Ms. Sablon proved to be a steadfast and an invaluable advocate for our students, our employees, and of course, the institution. Her knowledge, experience, and strategic insight were instrumental in guiding the college through one of the most pivotal periods in its history, helping us emerge as one of the brightest beacons in our community today. Additionally, Ms. Sablon has remained true to her role as a policy level leader, empowering the college's leadership, like Dr. G, and all the leaders at the college to manage the day-to-day operations while consistently advocating for the institution's best interests. She's a constant presence at employee and student functions, as Dr. G mentioned, always available to offer her support. Her private sector perspective, coupled with her passion for expanding workforce development efforts, have been important in guiding the college to address community needs. I am confident that Ms. Sablon's continued service on the Board of Regents will greatly benefit our students, our college, and our entire community. I respectfully urge this Senate committee to swiftly confirm her nomination. Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak before you today. Thank you.
Cesar Masi, Senor Elliptical. The floor is still open for public comments. If there are no further public comments, we will close that portion of our agenda. Let the record reflect that the committee has also received letters of support for Ms. Sablon's nomination from the following individuals: Ms. Nicole C. Sablon and Mr. Kevin Bautista. Additionally, for the record, the committee did not receive any letters in opposition of your nomination. Magusto para behu extendi benvenido para hogo, Senhora Sablon, dan familia mo. Esta munhodzan in ina I dokumento siha ni ma provenizi I komitea za segun gedzo na eksaminasyon, taza defektonya I dokumento siha ni man ma provenizi komitea. I now invite Ms. Sablon to please rise and raise your right hand while Mr. Marianas administers the oath to you.
Michelle Lynn Sablon, you do solemnly swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you shall give in the matter at hand shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You may be seated. With that, Ms. Sablon, I will give you an opportunity and temporarily give you the floor should you wish to make any opening statements.
Thank you. Wait, does this work?
It's on. It's on.
Okay. Hafaday, Tito, and good afternoon, Chairwoman Senator Selena Babauta, members of this honorable committee, and the general public present here today. I want to express my gratitude for the opportunity to speak to you all this afternoon. For the record, my name is Michelle Lynn Sablon. I am honored and thankful to Governor Honor Palacios and Lieutenant Governor David Apatang for expressing their confidence and once again giving me the chance to contribute and serve on the Northern Marianas College Board of Regents. I was first appointed to the NMC Board of Regents 4 years ago. It was my mission to work with the other board members to see how we can expand the educational opportunities for all of our students in the CNMI. I have worked diligently alongside my fellow regents and our president, Dr. Galvin de Leon Guerrero, on upholding the mission of NMC, which is to cultivate stewardship through scholarship. Together, we have made significant strides in enhancing the quality of higher education in the CNMI, expanding access for our residents, and strengthening the college ties to the business community and our workforce. Over the last 4 years as regent, NMC has graduated nearly 1,500 students who are now contributing members of the CNMI workforce and helping to power our economy. They serve as nurses, teachers, officers, accountants, entrepreneurs, and natural resource managers dedicated to protecting our environment, building our local capacity, all the while paying it forward by serving as role models for the next generation of students. In my first term on the board, the college also secured accreditation reaffirmation for an 8-year period, the longest in the history of NMC, an accomplishment that our community can be very proud of. Most recently, the college received another clean audit for a 17th straight year. This is without a doubt a result of all the hard work of the amazing people at NMC and our commitment to take care of our resources and our people. Over the course of my previous term, the Board of Regents approved the college's new facilities master's plan, which has led to the groundbreaking of one of the most anticipated construction projects in the CNMI's history, the new NMC Student Center. This is slated for ribbon cutting sometime next spring. I served as a chairperson of the Facilities Committee and was a part of numerous conversations between our team at NMC and our construction partners to ensure completion. I have been in meetings with senior leaders of the U.S. Department of Education to help advocate for our college's needs. What we all want is to give our people, the students, an educational space that they can be proud of. It goes without saying that the college, our student, our faculty, our staff, the employees have endured through so much. There are students who continue to learn and earn degrees, even with a campus that was completely destroyed by the super typhoon. But all the while knowing that a degree from NMC will create a better life for themselves and their families. The staff at NMC, I have seen it firsthand, that they are so dedicated to their work. They often wear many hats, and they sacrifice so much because they believe that NMC is a catalyst of what is for the future for our CNMI. It is through the leadership of the excellent team at the college, along with the collaboration of our government agencies, and with the support from our Governor Palacios and the legislature, that has gotten us here today. President Dr. Galvin de Leon Guerrero, Vice President Frankie Elliptico, Chairman of the Board Charles Cepeda, alongside the Board of Regents, and the entire NMC team have pushed the boundaries of what is possible and has allowed for the vision of a new NMC that is soon on its way to becoming a reality for our people. I am thankful to have been a part of this team, and I look forward to hopefully continuing this important work. Now, a little bit about myself. I am a daughter, I'm a wife, and I'm a mother. I am also a businesswoman. Alongside with my husband, we are raising our family here. We have our businesses here. I share in the goal of the progress of the Commonwealth. My time at NMC has taught me that this college and this Commonwealth, the CNMI, are resilient. Regardless of all the hardships that the college has gone through, there is light at the end of the tunnel. As a business person for the last 23 years, I bring a perspective, I think I bring a perspective to the Board of Regents that prioritizes both academic excellence and the practical realities of workforce development. I understand the challenges facing our college, from the need for an innovative curriculum to the importance of fiscal responsibility. My experience in the strategic planning and organizational growth with the NMC leadership has guided my contributions as a board member. And I remain committed to ensuring that our college is well positioned to meet the ever evolving needs of our students and the entire CNMI. My vision for NMC is for it to finally have a campus where the students, the faculty, the staff can be so proud of. For the students to have a safe learning environment, and for the students, for their experience to be successful and be meaningfully contributing to our society. Looking ahead, I'm specifically focused on initiatives that will drive innovation on all 3 islands, foster public-private partnerships to meet workforce needs through certification programs, build on the work that is already being done by CREES and SBDC network to continue to expand programs into Tinian and Rhoda, to increase their capacity and enhance student outcomes for the entire CNMI. I believe my continued service on the board will enable me to further these goals, and I'm eager to build upon the foundation that we have already laid. I would like to continue my advocacy for our only college in the Commonwealth. I respectfully ask for your support in confirming my renomination to ensure continuity and stability on the board for the benefit of the Northern Marianas College. It has been a privilege to have served and advocated for this important institution, and I am dedicated to collaborating with our elected officials, my fellow regents, and the leadership of NMC to move our PROA forward. Thank you, Sizus, Masi, and Giliso, for your consideration and for giving me the opportunity to speak to you today. Sizus, Masi.
Thank you, Ms. Sablon. I'll open up the questioning portion. You mentioned in your opening statement that when you were first appointed in 2020, you made it your mission to expand educational opportunities for all students in the CNMI. Having said that, what steps have you taken as a policymaker to ensure equitable access to higher education for all students?
Thank you, Senator. When it comes to policy, we as a board on the whole support the president's vision when it comes to actually for one DEI, diversity, inclusion. It has been at the forefront in a lot of the decision-making processes, especially when it comes to access for education for our people here. If I may, I would also like to, if it's okay, I would like to ask Dr. G to also maybe come up and continue and elaborate a little bit more on, sorry.
Well, we're asking you in
Mhm.
order to determine your fitness for the position you've
Oh,
been
yes, yes.
nominated for.
Mhm.
So, as a regent,
Mhm.
what have you contributed as a policymaker for the NMC? You mentioned that the board supports the vision of the president,
Yes.
and that may come off. What I'm hearing is that whatever Mr. G or Dr. G proposes, the board, automatically supports it. And that's not the type of, at least for me,
Yeah, no. Yeah,
that's not
it's
the
not
type of,
necessarily that way where it would come across. Sorry, for speaking, but
I don't mind having it, Dr. G. I always enjoy conversations with him. You're welcome to come
Yeah.
up, Dr. G.
Yes, policies that come through
From the board
from
level.
the board. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
from
yes.
a regent level.
Um,
Have you contributed any ideas or initiatives that ensure equitable access to all, educational opportunities for all students of the CNY?
sorry, kind of when it comes to policy.
Test.
And
So earlier I mentioned that Ms. Sablan has played a pivotal role in establishing partnerships. And earlier I mentioned the Association of Community College Trustees. In their work with them, not only to advance diversity, equity, inclusion for all our students on all 3 islands, recently a policy stance that was taken by the board, including Ms. Sablan, was when we started to run into issues with the new FAFSA, and it basically was excluding students, not just from the Northern Marianas, but from all of Micronesia. So there were some issues like the NMI wasn't even in the drop-down menu. So this was elevated by the board, along with Ms. Sablan, to ACCT. And ACCT has a very powerful voice in Washington. At one of their conferences, I believe they had First Lady Joe Biden as one of the keynote speakers. And at the last conference, they had several members of the Biden-Harris cabinet. And I've seen Ms. Sablan work at that level, not just meeting with the U.S. Department of Education, but really forging partnerships to lobby on behalf of the students and the institutions throughout the Pacific. So that's one policy level I've seen her get directly involved in, particularly with the new FAFSA. I'm sure, I don't know if you've heard, but we've had some high school kids
Some
transitioning,
students
and
were-
you've seen that too, right?
Right.
No, that's news
Some
to
of the
me.
students were having difficulties,
Yeah.
signing on.
Interesting.
And it's
Has
not
that been
just-
resolved? By the way, I'm concerned about that.
We have resolved it here. It continues to be an issue at the national level, but we, with support from the board, we've figured out workarounds because we
Okay.
have an excellent financial aid office staff that knows how to navigate that. So we've provided a lot of one-on-one support. We actually recently secured a grant from the U.S. Department of Education specifically designed to help students navigate it. And we've taken our staff to Saipantinian and Luta to help students there, whether they're coming to NMC or not, but to help them navigate the new FAFSA. But part of that was made possible by the advocacy provided by Ms. Sablan and the board.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. Okay,
Mm.
Ms. Sablan, how often does the Board of Regents meet with PSS Commissioner, Public School System Commissioner, in order to ensure that we that students coming out of the public school system meet or exceed NMC educational standards?
I know that we have met, thank you. We have met with the new commissioner and even previously the former commissioner. We have collaborated on, there was this one huge conference, the State of the Education address. That was a nice collaborative effort on all fronts. It was with PSS, NM Tech, and NMC.
How has anything come out of those meetings?
You know, I think one thing that NMC has done really well at is to continue to give the opportunity and host on the high school level, like early registration processes to get the students interested in continuing education. Yeah.
I what I am leading to is I hope that, and this primarily speaks to public school system and how I hope that they're meeting standards for university level, although we're not a university at this point per se, but at least to get into the entry level classes, not NDUs particularly, non-degree units. So that's my concern in your collaboration with PSS. I hope that those discussions are being debated amongst the 3 educational institutions here, NM Tech, PSS, and NMC.
Mhm.
So that's just a comment.
Thank
No
you.
need to answer that. I don't have any other questions. I will yield to other members. Recognize Senator Donald Manglonia.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, everyone present here today, and congratulations again, and thank you for the last 4 years of your service to NMC. Seeing as how you represent the business sector, earlier today we've had the hearing of the Board of Professional Licensing, right? And some of the issues that they brought up and shed light on are the lack of professionals within certain areas of within certain professions. And so what role has NMC Regents taken, if any, in trying to meet the needs of these underserved or maybe a lack of professionals in certain areas, and providing that pathway for students to start looking at these professions and providing that support in continuing their education at NMC and then through another college or university that focuses on those professions?
Thank you for that question, Senator. So NMC has they have continued the dialogue, with the private sectors, and a lot of, like, as you mentioned, that there's a need in certain sectors for more professionals. And I know recently the dental hygiene cohort had graduated a number of students, and that was in collaboration. If I could have Dr. G expand on that.
Well, the Board of Regents has been very supportive of the expansion of our academic programs. Most recently, in trying to better meet the needs, not just of our current students on all 3 islands, but also the changing needs of like working students, the board approved a submission to our accrediting commission to try to bring more programs online. And that's going to give us a little bit more flexibility in terms of meeting those professional needs. But just some examples of new programs that have been designed to fill up those gaps. You may have seen we've done a really good job working with our law enforcement agencies to offer basically short-term academies. We have launched a pre-engineering degree program that not only feeds into the workforce, but also feeds into 4-year degree programs. And then we've launched several STEM initiatives in partnership with institutions like Portland State University. And all of this is because the board recognized that we need to fill those gaps. And one gap I know that Ms. Sablan has pushed to fill as a regent, and she can speak more to this than I could, is really kind of trying to solve the apprenticeship riddle here in the CNMI. We have apprenticeship programs with the federal government. We have it at the college. We have it at Department of Labor. And she's done a lot of work in terms of bringing everyone together to make that work.
Thank you for that. I'm also, on the government side, we see a lack of applicants in areas such as biologists or engineers, archaeologists, and we always have to seek these assistance outside the CNMI, whether it be through HP visas or companies that are close by. And so when it comes to the business sector and looking at all the different visas that these companies are applying for, is that something that maybe you as a representative of the business sector has looked into with NMC to see if we can establish several pathways into trying to get students, I guess, interested in the field, but also providing that support that if NMC is unable to meet certain aspects of it, that we I don't know, maybe advertise colleges. I know my cousin, being an example, who was in the Build Exito program. I don't know if that's still going on. He went off to Oregon and got his degree, but unfortunately he's not back here. But trying to get students who want to contribute to our economy and our government or our CNMI, and that's maybe providing them the support to start off at NMC through these pathways and then venture off and get to professional degrees and then come back. And so I wonder if that's something that you've looked into in terms of the different HB visas and see what these professions are and how we can support the private sectors in giving them our local professionals after they've gone through these programs, but in looking ahead and trying to fill in those gaps and the need for those professions. I wondered if that's something that you as a region have looked into and have proposed, and see if that's something that NMC through the direction of the president have addressed or even considered.
Yeah. Thank you. I know I did bring up, I actually had connected a private company they were looking for specifically welders, but marine welders. This is something that's really huge. I attended an ACCT conference a couple of years ago and sat in GCC. It was a Guam Community College session where Dr. Okada had talked about a very successful program that they had launched in partnership with, I think they had established some type of legislative agreement with the government to help fund this program. And that it was like, I believe, a 6-month program where these welders were trained on-site training. They got the education through GCC, graduated, and was directly given a position right afterwards. So they were looking to fill the need here. And this is something that we've been hoping to have it see through. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
And sorry, and I'll continue to look. I thank you for your comments. I'll definitely look into the other positions and what the government's needs are too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. And maybe another recommendation that, if confirmed, this is something maybe the Regents can consider and look into, and in trying to see how maybe businesses can also invest in their employees in trying to seek, further, whether it be through certification programs or getting their degrees. I know when I was in college, a lot of one of the jobs that I was working at in college, I saw a lot of employers paying for their tuition. And so maybe if NMC can look at whether it's an employer in paying for tuition or kind of going like a similar route to a ETC that they donate into. And so if that's something that maybe that they can donate a separate, do a separate structure for that sense where they're going to invest in their employees' education, maybe that's something that could be considered. And as well as on the government side, maybe working with OPA and looking at some of the programs that they could add into requirements of the employment process and the employment requirements before being hired. And a lot of the things that I basically wanted to run in a manner similar to PSS, where in order to meet a certain salary level, right, you have to take all these required courses or credits to improve your skills, and so applying almost the same concept to the government side, where if an employee wants to further their profession, further along in their profession, want to get a salary increase, and they take all these courses that maybe are offered at NMC or could be offered at NMC to help that employee build on their capacity, as well as provide support to our current government workers in improving their skills in the profession that they're focused on. And so that's all I have for now. Prior to this meeting, I reached out to several NMC employees to get a sense of the way the Regents have been operating, and they've had nothing but great words for the support that the Regents have been giving to NMC. And so thank you for all that you do within within your role as a regent for NMC. And that's all I have for now. And so with that, Chair, I yield.
Thank you, Senator Donald Manglonia. I recognize Senator Paul Manglonia.
Thank you. Before I ask a few questions to Michelle, and thank you for accepting the nomination again, Michelle.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna ask the president. I'm just trying to understand. As far as foreign students to NMC, are they easily granted student visa if they apply to go to NMC? Is that an easy process? Can you please explain a little bit?
Jesus Masti, Senator, and good to see you. Well, I don't want to say it's easy because we have to comply with federal statutes when it comes to issuing I-20s for F1 visa students. But we recently transitioned into a new designated personnel that facilitates the issuance of I-20s and the processing of F1 visa students. And ever since that person's taken over, things have gotten a lot smoother. During the transition, there was a bit of a hiccup, but we were able to resolve that over the summer. So it's within compliance of the law. It is a relatively easy process.
Okay. And what for someone wanting to take the NCLEX or just coming to Saipan for a month to study NCLEX test, and then take it? Is that easy? They're not really students, right? They're just here to take a test. Is that also easy to grant? Do you need an I-20 for that or some other visa?
Not necessarily, depending on how long they're here and the primary purpose of being here. There are quite a few outlets that offer edutourism where you're here for like a few weeks. And while you're here, you might enroll in a prep course. But
Like,
if-
for example, to take NCLEX or MLE, I don't know. They don't offer that here, but some other medical tests.
So the college, because we are a designated testing site for the Education Testing Service, ETS. So we offer a range of tests,
Okay.
including College Board tests for AP, NCLEX, but that is really separate from like our nursing program.
Also, will we require a direct application to USCIS or for a visa to come here?
So if you intend to enroll full-time for
Oh no, just to take the test, a particular test.
if you intend to take the test and you register for the test,
Mhm.
you don't necessarily need an I-20 for that or an F1 visa.
Or if you're from the Philippines or where they don't have a visa free.
Right. You can, we are legally prohibited from excluding anyone that registers for the tests online and takes the test in person.
So they can come here?
They can come as long as they can complete the online application for the testing.
But they don't have a visa though.
Right. We are not legally prohibited. We are legally prohibited
Oh.
from excluding them. So we offer the testing facilities and we facilitate the testing process, but it is not an NMC test. We are just entrusted to
Also,
proctor
no,
the
I guess
tests.
my question is, can they come here and take the test once you approve it? Or do they have to go to the immigration office and get a visa to come here, fly?
They don't have to.
Just like you issue I-20 and
Right.
F1 visa, right?
Right.
So do you need to issue some documentation for them to come here?
There's a difference between whether we are processing their arrival here
Mhm.
and what they do once they're here. Once they're here, and unless we're issuing an I-20, we don't manage that process. We only manage the process by which they register for the
Oh.
test.
So we don't. I'm asking this because in trying to address some of these needs, like physician assistant and medical doctors, nurses, I guess we can take the opportunity that when coming here, they can take that test and maybe 10 NMC part-time or what have
Right,
they,
right, right.
and then be also able to, I guess, help out in our facilities here. I'm just
Yes.
trying to think
And
of ways to, because I guess I'm getting to, with regards to lawyers, the need for attorneys here, right?
right.
Our judges and some local attorneys, they create the pre-law program, no, so that they check people out there who has been out of college that maybe are interested in
Right.
becoming lawyers.
Yeah.
So they have this program, and we're successful, right? We get
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
people who has been out of college for 5 years, 10 years, and then
mm-hmm,
they go into the program and they come back as attorneys.
mm-hmm.
So I wish we can do something like that for doctors, right?
Yeah.
We can sponsor a program here and get those medical, maybe biology major that changed to
Right,
another
right, right,
field, or
right.
somebody that
Yeah.
wants to go back, and we can have that kind of pre-med again, some kind of a class, and then make an arrangement with New Mexico Medical School,
Right.
right? And then channel them there, and
Yeah.
and they can come back as not necessarily medical doctors, but even physician assistant, right?
It's a great
So
idea,
it's kind of
Senator
like
Nguyen.
focusing on our needs,
Yes.
and then not to have it every year, but every 3 years, have a
Mhm,
program,
mhm,
recruit 4 or 5 every 3 years, and you get enough
mhm,
over
mhm,
a decade or two, right?
mhm,
So
mhm,
the way it was successful in pre-law, we can do it also with pre-med,
mhm.
getting people that maybe wasn't thinking, but say, hey, I want to go back to my passion, right,
Mm.
in medical. That's just something that I want to throw out.
Okay.
But I was asking about the testing center here, because one way to raise revenue, and I keep bringing this up to the nursing board, is allow, because before you can take NCLEX, if you're a foreigner, you need to be to be given an authorization to take the test, right? And the only body that can do that is any U.S. nursing board. So CNMI have a nursing board, Guam, California, right? So if you are certified to take the test in the CNMI, for the lifetime of that nurse, every 2 years he has to get recertified,
Mhm,
and they pay the CNMI $80, $150. I don't know how much you have to pay every 2 years just to
mhm, mhm.
keep your license updated, right? So not necessarily to bring them here so they can work here and take over the jobs of the local nurses. No, they just have to be certified. So they
Yeah.
take the test, and then they go to the States or anywhere and work, and then every 2 years they fill up an application to have their license renewed,
Mhm,
and forever will be making, imagine, thousands of nurses, tens of thousands, maybe in 10 years, right?
mhm.
So I'm just saying that the NMC can play a role there. Also, I can, not only for the licensing of nurses, but even when you bring them here and they study here, you make the tuition cheaper and more affordable, and the program becomes sustainable, right, over
Mhm, mhm.
years, because now they share in the cost of tuition. So I just want to bring that out. And speaking of cost, I just want to move forward. I wanna bring up to the Board of Regents and you, Mr. President, that under our Constitution, PSS gets 25% of our budget, right? 25%. So what I'm saying is, and let me step back. I was talking to somebody in the construction field who has a company, and he's struggling to find local workers, and he's trying to train young people already out of high school for several years. And I'm saying, send them to NMT na yan, da, da, da. And he goes, Senator, by the time they're out, it's too late. We should actually be doing the program. He was saying 8th grade. Like, if a person is thinking of becoming I don't know, in uh, whatever, a pilot or something, or you should start them early. So he's saying sometimes it's late once they graduate from high school. So my point is, if we're going to start them early, let's take advantage of the 25% PSS budget, right? And so create programs, work with PSS, create programs, apprenticeship program, and pilot school or something, start early, because anyway, the 25%, they sometimes they need help on other programs, right? So give them ideas to get into an apprenticeship or some other classes that then they use 25% of the budget, and by the time they come to NMC, maybe just a year or two more, they can go out into the whatever field they want to have a career in. So I just wanna point that out. 25% can help. I mean, you can try some of those courses in high school and let them pay for it, right? Even the scholarship portion for that can come out of the 25% of PSS budget.
It's an excellent idea that we have been doing for a number of years with the PSS Career Technical Education Program led by Dr. Jessica Taylor, whether it be for nursing, teacher academy, other things. So it would be great. It's been limited to the summer. I love the idea of expanding it down to the 8th grade. And if it means that we might get a portion of that 25%, I think we're all for it.
I think there's not, I mean, they can use that, right? Just work with them, because then they'll see that we're all after helping our kids, right?
Very
After all.
much in support of that, Senator.
So it could come from their budget. Can I ask finally, talking about initiatives and ideas, the chairwoman was asking, with Rhoda, the diminishing number of students and the cost of bringing professors, their teachers, instructors, I know that it's a challenge. When we look at the budget, I don't expect an answer today, but can you work with that and talk to the delegation, SAIPA, Atenean, and Rhoda delegation, how we can have a successful program for students there, that if they really want to be on track, they have to pretty much come here, and then they have to rent an apartment and what have you, and with the same amount of scholarship that we give all our NMC students. Well, what are the challenges? What ideas do you have with the lower number of students there? I'm just curious to know, like ratio-wise, high school students going to NMC. I know that hey, we should send all our students at least 2 years. I totally agree in NMC before they go to the mainland. I mean, that's a lot of tuition payment in the future, right? That you save. I see that in some of our kids, and a couple of my kids, they're still paying tuition for back then 50,000 a year tuition, right? I mean, it's ridiculous. They could have just gone here, and so I'm just saying, please give us ideas on how to make it work so that a person in Rhode Island. Yeah, I see you raising your hand, Michelle.
Thank you, Senator, for your concerns. This access is absolutely like one of the top priorities. I know NMC has done a great job at reaching out to all the high schools prior. I think they start as early as maybe 10th grade and getting the high school students educated and teaching them that, hey, you know what, we have a college here. You don't have to go off and spend all that extra money. Start smart. Start at NMC. That has been I have advocated on that. In addition, I know it's difficult on Rhoda, but I know NMC is working on additional online programs and online degree programs that could help, I think, with that situation. Yeah. And at the end of the day, too, we don't have, sorry.
Please work with Rhoda, NMC, and maybe appreciate an update on what are the challenges, what we need to do to help. What are the unique circumstances down there, unique challenges. But before I forget, one last for now, what's going on with the ROTC program? That I believe we have a lot of students that graduated first 2 years in NMC and then ROTC, I mean the basic courses, and then they go to work for the last 2 years and they graduate, right? That's a good program. I heard that that stopped a year or two ago. Is that something that bring back?
It's something we're working on rebuilding. It was called the Crosstown Agreement with the University of Guam. And yes, we did offer it here as a starting point. But during the pandemic lockdowns and also after the typhoon, there was a slight dip in some of the numbers nationwide. And the Department of Defense pulled the plug on that. So we've been working with the Department of Defense and with our Congressman Kilili, our civilian aide, Mr. Mike Sablon, as well as our partners at UOG to revive that. And ultimately, like we've taken it up pretty far, the chain of command, but ultimately it's a decision that the Army has to make. But if you can join us in appealing that, that would be wonderful.
You share with us information and we'll support. I think it's a very good program.
It
And,
was.
and
the UOG ROTC program, they want to revive it here. They
Mhm.
come here quite often. And in lieu of a crosstown agreement, they come and they work with our students even before they go to Guam. So we completely agree, and we continue to work to reinstate that.
all right. So let us know how we can help, please, in writing letters or meeting people. Appreciate the president. Thank you, Michelle. Madam President, I don't have chair. I don't have any question. I'm ready.
Thank you, Senator Paul. You may stay your vote. Recognize Senator Donald McLaughlin.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to piggyback off of Senator Paul's points. You have a program similar to, I think, what was called 2+2 back in my day. Is that something that is being offered right now? And I think
It's a dual enrollment and early enrollment. So it's something.
is it to the point where a high school graduate can attain their AA at
Yes.
the same time?
Yes.
So I think to Senator Paul's recommendation, if we can like look at how the maybe the last 2 years of their high school or the classes that they're taking could be paid for by PSS.
Right,
if
because the
that's
challenge
something
right now
that-
is those students they don't qualify for federal financial aid
right.
or CMI or any municipals. So yes, if
So
we
right
could-
now, are they paying for it out of their own pocket,
Yes.
or
Yeah.
so PSS doesn't pay anything while these students are also still in high school? I know it's like an after-school program or something like that, but if it can be incorporated into kind of like the high school curriculum as well, so that it could be paid for out of a portion of the 25%, and that, I mean, nowadays they pay the distance ed teachers get paid per student. So it could be mirrored in that manner where whichever number of students are enrolled in that dual program, a portion of that instructor's salary could be paid for by PSS. And so that's something that the Regents and the leadership can look at how that could be kind of tackled into the budget in trying to support some of NMC's needs. Then that's something that could be considered. Thank you.
Chair, I'm just going to interject in here. I'm sorry. The parent of one of those successful ROTC students is right at the back. Second Lieutenant LJ
Oh, yeah.
Camacho recently graduated. I didn't see that she was here with us, but congratulations. And that's the kind of
Congratulations to,
success story that I'm
Ellen.
trying to
he
bring out.
graduated as a commissioned officer.
Right, commission officer.
Piggybacking off of Senator Donald McLaughlин's idea, you mentioned that these kids are not eligible for FAFSA, the federal aid. However, and that's something we cannot control here in the CNMI. However, they may be eligible to apply for the CNMI scholarship and or SHEFA or Tinian or local Rhoda scholarship, and that is something that we have control over. So if you could look into that, that would be a very, very beneficial program. Senator Jude, I will recognize Senator Jude Hofschneider this time.
Madam Chair, and good afternoon, Mr. Blon and of course, Dr. G and your team Red, the NMC. Welcome back to the Senate. Great discussions, and I want to thank Ms. Blon for dialing in again and accepting this. I guess I can now say it's your passion, no, to do this because We're just doing this as an order of operation as far as the way the EAGI and the Senate goes in the law. But I'm trying to reflect on some of the questions that being raised by the chair and Senators Paul and Donald. And a lot of these really is it's just, and I agree that we need to have another maybe workforce symposium amongst the education institution heads here. And I appreciate that you mentioned Dr. Camacho's reaching out to your office. But I think in the last side and separate from you two and the pandemic, we've seen a lot of transformation and different needs and different approach with regards to how to be here in the CNMI as far as rebuilding it, building it, sustaining it, what have you, whatever you want to call it. There's always that challenge, and it all boils down to the educational the functions no, of the entire region. But I appreciate your passion, really, that you are going above and beyond, not only with the you being the regent, but like you share some of your ideas, no, as an entrepreneur and a woman and a mother and somebody that you love dearly, the CNMI, and I appreciate that comment. I was taking notes that when you were taking that, but I also want to. It's kind of awkward right now, but I want to talk about it a little bit. You know, I used to be the chair. I mean, the commission member for Wichi, and there are some made some headways with regards to some programs under that organization that actually benefits us here, and I'm going to continue advocating that we continue being part of that organization. And some of the questions that Senator Paul Manglonia was asking, really, there's a lot of maybe the networks that you can tap into, whether through your office or the vice president, to see how they can help. Try to navigate forth, even if it needs only changes in the way you operate daily or weekly at NMC, or just incorporate some of that, or if there's a need for changes in legislation to allow that. I say this because the Public Law 20-08, which I know it because it's my bill. It's the professional student exchange program that is actually embodied by the Wichi organization. So for this bill and this law, it encompasses about 10 fields in medicine. And it's interesting that we're talking about it because I'm just being reached out by a potential student for a professional degree. And the challenge right now with the legislature is funding. So I'm gonna go ahead and really ask my colleagues here that we need to reconsider this, because that's what we wanted, right? We want to get the workforce that we need here, the professional folks to come back here and serve. And this is just one aspect. I mean, one tool that we're using now, and it's our control. It's the CNMI, and I would be remiss if I don't mention that we also have a gentleman here who's also a doctorate in, and came back and now serving as the president. But just continuing on with capacity building here. I appreciate the comment made by Senator Manglonia, and I believe Senator Donald, about maybe instead of like working at the high school level with workforce development, go earlier, down to maybe 6th to 7th grade, and start planting it with them. Because one of the things that I can understand is if we make that available here, there's no. We all were young once upon a time, so we always want to try to go out somewhere, right? But if it's something that is already here, and as parents or grandparents for that matter, we can convince them that, hey, you don't need to go very far. It's right here. It pays well, and you're qualified. And you started out with PSS, then you navigate over to NMC or to NMTech, and then you go out and service the industry. similar to what Senator Paul was saying about the pre-law, similar to the nursing program that the NMC is doing very well, and I'm sure that you mentioned a little bit about Dr. Okada, or one of you mentioned about GCC. I know they've built a fantastic facility. I mean, institution down there. So if you can just rub some of that, help each other out here with NMTech, so we can finally see that, because we were forgetting to mention that 2029 is just the day after tomorrow, and we really need to be worried about that to service our workforce. I think I'm just kind of throwing out comments here, and I guess the ultimate, before I yield back, I want to ask that you continue supporting the initiative of the partnership with other states, and work with us if there is a problem, or if there's any provisions in there that needs improvement. And I think you, as an appointee right now, your heart is here. So it's not a question. It's you really just dialing in to do this extra, on top of your day-to-day living. So yeah, we're gonna work through. Interestingly, and Dr. G, can you repeat that again? You want some of that 25%?
Let's just say we won't say no.
So it's interesting that we point, and I stand corrected. Maybe the legal counsel can correct me. But if we give you that quarter, for example, it didn't preempt, or it doesn't prohibit the legislature to actually put a provision underneath that, because that's our job. So I think the vice president is trying to navigate his statement earlier about, but it's actually, I support that idea, but we need to make sure that we advise PSS that this is the plan, so they can dial in also, and not just PSS, maybe NMTech also. With the skinny revenue that we have, I think we can stretch it, and with all these professionals and smart folks and experience, we can certainly get that proper guidance from you guys. So it's not a question; it's just a statement. So thank you very much for your time. And I'll think about other comments to make before we yield for the day, or otherwise I'm just going to yield back. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Hausschneider. I was just exploring on my phone. I noticed NMC has an app. Is that correct? Do you guys use it? This is a Android.
We're updating that with our current digital migration, so part in the progress, but we're going to roll out a new app next year that's going to be much more integrated and a better experience for our students.
I'm glad that you guys have it, because this is one of the ideas I tossed to Vice President Frankie Leptico. So I'm glad this is available for students. It gives accessibility to the younger generation who are technically savvy and are always on the phone anyways. So they may as well be studying, on their phone. But I wanted to thank you guys for showing up this afternoon. I have no further questions unless there are other questions from the other members. Ms. Saban, you are hereby dismissed for today. Thank you. Moving on to the next item of the agenda, which is miscellaneous. Do any of the members have any miscellaneous items? Next week. Do you want to announce FA? No. I have no further items to discuss or mention under miscellaneous. Can I get a motion to adjourn today's meeting?
So move.
Thank you. A motion has been made and it has been seconded. Are there any objections to the motion? There being no objections, the motion hereby passes. This meeting is hereby adjourned, and it is now 3:27 p.m. Thank you.